Well, hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam, thanks for hanging out with me again today. And on today's video is going to be the chassis build of the RC10CC. This took a while to get to me. I missed out on the first round. I finally got mine on the second round. I know there's still people out there waiting for theirs. I know that Associated is still working on cranking them out, so hopefully you'll get yours fairly soon. So, I bought this as a collector item. I think that's primarily what this was marketed for. They even say don't run this because it's not supposed to be, it was never intended to be a runnable car. I know a lot of people have. Bryce, he's run his multiple times and, it's held up pretty well. But this one is just going to strictly be a complete shelves queen. This one for me is just going to be a complete shelf queen. I have not gotten to the body yet. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to paint the body, and I may end up doing two bodies. Not 100% sure yet. I've got two different ideas and I really can't decide on which, so I may wait until I may do the first iteration of it, and then once the bodies come back in stock, then maybe I'll pick up the other one and do a second body on it. So I'm not going to do a whole unboxing of this. There's been dozens and dozens and dozens of unboxing videos when they first came out. So in this, all I'm going to do is the standard build. Is we're going to get it laid out on the table. I'll kind of give you a once over. Now, unfortunately, everything is in plastic bags, and everything in the manual goes step by step through those plastic bags. So I'm not going to break everything down. It's just going to be everything laid out as it comes out of the box. Then I got pictures throughout the build of it all going together, and then we'll come back with the final product. Ta-da! So overall, the build went very, very well. There are a few little things you need to think about and, you know, pay attention to when you're building it. One is lubricate all the screws that are going into this clear plastic. It makes life so much easier. I just used a little tiny bit of some leftover silicone shock oil from a Tamiya kit. You don't have to go haywire, you know, just put a little bit on there, rub it around on the threads, and then thread it in. It makes life a whole lot easier. As you're cranking these things in, it wants to go tick, 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 and, you know, you never know when that tick is going to be the last one it wants to do and wants to lock up. If you put a little bit of silicone on there, they go in so much easier and saves a lot of wear and tear in your arms. Now in the kit, they give you the tiny little Allen drivers to put the screws in. They give you all the sizes, and there's 5 different sizes. One of them is microscopic, and we'll get talked about that one in a minute. My suggestion is go, if you're buying this to build it, pick up a set of standard Allen drivers or hex drivers. Makes life so much easier. Now everything on here except for the big bottom screws are standard drive. So you got like 3/32 and weird sizes. The bottom ones for the mounting all this stuff, the bigger ones are a 2.5 millimeter, so I was able to use my standard driver, and I cheated a little bit and used my drill, my DeWalt rotary thing to actually drive those in, save the arm a little bit. Most of them, like I said, most of them do go in fairly easily. There are some, these two here that go from the side of the chassis into the bulkhead, they are excessively long. You know, I guess it does take a fair amount of stress right there, but those, if you don't lube any of the other ones, lube those, because even with the silicone on there, they still felt like they wanted to bind up at any second. But as you can see, I don't have an ESC in here. I don't have a receiver in here. I did buy a silver servo. It's a 35 kg servo, way overkill for this. I didn't buy it for the actual, the performance of it. I bought it because it was silver. It was the only one I could find that was silver and didn't cost a ton of money. So I stuck that in there just to hold the front wheels straight. I did put a motor in it, and a pinion. I think it's a 24-tooth pinion I put in there. I don't know. I just put one in there. I had 2 of them, so I used one of those. The motor is an old school Cadillac motor that was gifted to me from Corey. So thank you very much, Corey, for that. I've had it for a long time. She actually sent it over for one of the runner, but the runner actually had a decent motor in it, and it was the exact same thing, just a little bit more, it was a little bit more beat up. So I just left that in the runner, and I'm gonna use the nice Cadillac motor in this. So, you know, it does have a vintage associated motor in there. I just had to put some new wires on there. Okay, so to put the motor in, you do need a pinion. It doesn't come with a pinion. You do need a servo horn. It doesn't come with a servo horn. What was the other thing it was missing? I guess it was just the servo horn and the pinion, or the 2 things it does not come with. Now it has some nice features. It has the clear knockoffs for display purposes. You could probably get away with running them on there, especially the rears. Fronts, you know, they're locked on there pretty tight. They do give you lock nuts to put the wheels on if you decide to run it. Be careful. You don't get a single extra piece of hardware in this kit. You get exactly everything you need to build this. So if you send an E-clip flying, or a spring rolls off the desk, or whatever, you are going to have to go find that, because you get no extras at all. I was really worried because an E-clip flung out and I couldn't find it. It took me a long time to realize it was stuck in my beard. So at least I did find it. The E-clips, you know, a lot of you guys will probably have E-clips that will work, but, you know, some of the springs in here for the wheels, or the axles, and, you know, some of the other hardware is very specific to this kit, so just make sure you keep tabs of everything. It is nice when you're building it, everything comes pre-packaged, so you build bag A, bag B, bag C, and you don't have a ton of hardware laying around, so it is nice in that aspect. that you're only dealing with a few things. Now, I did say there's no spare hardware in there. Well, there are two of the big aluminum washers. I didn't see where they go. It said stack 4 in the front in bag A. I did. And then the only thing I can think of is potentially to raise up this rear body mount is to space it up with 2 of those extra washers. It didn't show it in the manual, so I didn't put it in there. If need be, we can pop that back off, put those in, raise it up if we need to. But I just thought that was odd that I have 2 extras and they're not shown in the manual. The other issue I had, I built the front upper links and the rear upper links. Well, I built all the links exactly as it says to in the book. The steering rods look right. The center steering rod looks correct. It's just the upper links, front and rear, were too narrow. I had serious camber issues. So I had to basically take the fronts off, back it off 3 full turns, and now the fronts, you know, they sit fairly straight up and down, and the rears, I did 2 turns on there to straighten those back out. It was way too much inward camber. So now when you sit it down, you know, the tires are sitting pretty much straight up and down. I did build the shocks up with oil in them, so the shocks actually do have dampening. I've never built a set of associated shocks, which is interesting. Do not lose this little tool. It's just a little plastic tool, but basically you have to stack all of your shock bits on here. So there's like this little square piece that you have to put on first, and then, you know, stack up your O-rings and your spacers and more O-rings and more spacers and everything. Now I did do it a little bit different. So you get your shock tree, and it has your pistons, which there's not a ton of difference in the pistons. You know, it's basically a really small hole, a medium hole, and a large hole. They tell you to build them with the number 2s, which is the medium hole, and it works really well. And then you have a line of big spacers and a whole bunch of small spacers. So basically they tell you in the book, so you put a square piece on first, a small spacer, an O-ring, a big spacer, an O-ring, and then a small spacer. So they give you 4 additional spacers in there. They're like clear to where these are white. The clear ones were a little bit thicker than the white ones. So I chose to swap out those clear ones and put them into the shock and leave the white ones as the internal shock spacer that the clear ones were intended to. Everything fit in perfectly. I just figured that little bit of extra squish may help seal the shocks overall. Who knows if it does, but it does work if you use those. Now going back to the tools, again, you got these pile of Allen wrenches. I don't suggest you trying to put this thing together with that. It's going to kill your fingers. But in the rear end, if you guys have never built a 6-gear transmission, I'll put kind of the pictures up here of how it goes together. But the 2 idler gears in between the input shaft and the output gears, they're like a brownish plastic gear, and it has the bronze bushings in there, or bearings if you put bearings in. Well, each one of them has 3, 4 little screws holding that bushing or bearing in. Well, you have to use this little teeny tiny microscopic Allen wrench to try to get those in. And to hold the gear, hold the bearing in, get the little screw in there with the Allen wrench and try to get them tight was impossible. I've fiddled, and these were not cooperating trying to get those screws in. So what I did is I took the Allen wrench, I just grabbed one half with one pair of pliers, one half with the other, and then bent it. It snapped right in half. And I put it in my little pin vise that I normally use for drilling out tiny little holes, clamped it down in there, and then I could actually use that to be able to put some downward pressure on there, turn it, and hold everything together. That made a whole lot of, that made a big difference, and I doubt anybody has a driver that's that tiny. If you do, you have one hell of a collection of tools. But this was an alternative to that. Now, you could do that with these other ones. If you don't have a driver set, buy an $8 pin vise and cut the bends off of all your Allen wrenches, and then you can just chuck them into the pin vise and use that. I had a great time with the chassis build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a whole lot of me rambling on at the end, but I just want to kind of share my thoughts on the build. So it was really, really fun to build up an RC10 from a kit. You know, something I've never done, probably never would do unless this came up. So thank you, Associated, for putting this out. I thought it was a really cool idea. It looks stunning, kind of in the silver and clear and black motif. Tires really nice. The fronts are actually really, really soft. The rears are nice. Wheels went together just fine. Yeah, I have no issues with it, other than, you know, these links. Yeah, putting the links together is a pain in the ass. Those are not easy to get together, and, you know, other than just some little fiddly things, it was not bad. But again, you know, I was learning as I went along, because I haven't, you know, I've torn one down, I put it back together, but, you know, everything was pre-threaded when I did that, and we were working with nylon, not this clear plastic that this is made out of. But anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I'm going to call it a day, and I will get to working on the body, and as soon as that's done, we'll come back with that. But everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will catch you on the next one. See you guys.